what I'm real amazed with is people talk about product to market fit, their capital raises. If you don't have a cash machine, a way to generate money, your business cannot stay alive. And it just blows my mind. And you and I have heard this many times. Hey, what's your unit economics? Like, do I have the time to go get this deal, to close it, collect it, service it? What's my cost with it? I'm blown away by how many people don't know their unit economics and don't really have a clear path to cash. I would say that's the single most important thing we deal with. Now, it changes when you're venture backed, right? Because you're afforded all kinds of mistakes and burn and all that. But for entrepreneurs, the what I would call the middle of the fairway entrepreneurs, be very clear on how you generate cash. Without cash, you can't survive very long.
Welcome back to the Winner Circle podcast. I'm Jay Adewal, business coach, consultant, and your humble host. I hope you enjoyed the last episode of the podcast. We brought in a special guest and it was great. And I've seen a lot of comment from you guys wanting to have somebody with in-depth knowledge on when it comes to economic development in the West. So I'm just going to bring that on the next episode of the Winner Circle. But for this episode, we have somebody who's fantastic, a very special guest with us, Jim Walden. He's the CEO of Prospect Desk, with over, 25 years of experience, more than, I think, 30 years, co-founding six
Thanks.
companies and building
Yeah, don't
high-performing
rub it in,
sales
Jay.
team.
Don't rub it in.
Yeah, you have a wealth of knowledge in business development, technology, and strategic alliance. The evidence is clear. It has resulted in hundreds of millions in new businesses, which is great. Your background is very impressive. The roles in data ecosystem, business intelligence, and e-commerce. And you also served in as a board of director for more than a dozen companies. And a lot of our listeners are looking forward to tap into your vast experience so that they can learn from you today. So today we'll be discussing how technology is reshaping business development processes and what entrepreneurs should be investing in to stay competitive, particularly when it comes to top of funnel strategies. Thank you for joining us from Instagram, YouTube, and all the platforms we are on. We just want to say thank you for joining us today. So let's just dive in there. Put your journey. What initially drew you into entrepreneurship, and how did you find your way into co-founding multiple companies?
As they say, mother's the um, necessity of invention or innovation. So, one of the first companies I worked for out of college went bankrupt. And I was sitting in the room with the founders as they told their investors they spent all the money, and it was horrible. And I lost my job that day. And I was like, well, what are we going to do? And didn't have a place to live at that point. And talk about down and out. So, no paycheck, no place to live, no real understanding of what I could do or couldn't do. And then one of the other founders of the company said, hey, there's something called tax refunds, rapid refunds, and this thing called electronic filing in the 1991, 92 era. And we know the people who are building it for the IRS. Do you want to go talk to them? And we're like, sure. So I didn't know I was becoming an entrepreneur. I was really looking for a job and a paycheck. And then he goes, hey, here's some shares. So it was the accidental entrepreneur that got me into it. And next thing you know, I wound up buying them out, taking it over. And within 2 years, co-founded it with my brothers. And, within 36 months, we had a $60 million company that we founded off of $10,000, no outside investors. Accidental entrepreneur. I wish there was some master plan, and I always wanted to be one. I had no idea.
That's a great journey. Considering your extensive experience with both startup and also established companies, how have you seen technology change in the landscape of business development over the years?
I'd say that so there's two parts to business development for me. One is if you're an SDR, sales development rep, and you're doing the cold calling canvassing, I'd say the tools now are better than they've ever been. Whether it's Gong for outbound dialing or Sales Ape or any of these really cool tools that are helping take over some of the tasks through smart agents, understanding who's in market. I think the SDR role is really going to change dramatically over the next 12 to 18 months, just like it has in the last 12. I'd say from a business development executive standpoint, I don't think it's changed much because it's still strategic. So it's like I still need to sit down with Jay, develop rapport, understand what his business objectives are. Is this something Jay and his board and executive team wants to do? Technology can't shorten that cycle. So I would say for true business development, still man to man or man to woman, one person to person. But SDRs dramatically going to change.
With the introduction of AI, there's been a lot of rapid change. Like a lot of people are using AI right now, and it's helping a lot of businesses. What are some key technologies that you believe that every entrepreneur should invest in to enhance their business development processes?
I think any technology, so whether it's buzz.ai or instantly with email marketing, focuses on managing your LinkedIn account. Think keep it simple, one or two tools, make them work. And we break down all of the processes we want to automate to discrete tasks. And then we figure out what the smart agent or AI can do for us. And if there's 20 tasks, can it do 12? And if it can do those 12, does it help me double my time then to talk to people? Simple equation. If I wouldn't get any more complicated than that if I was an entrepreneur, but I would say I'd focus on things that simplify posting and interacting with your LinkedIn connections and simplifies, creates content on the fly, and responds on email. I'm amazed at how many entrepreneurs are still sending manual emails one at a time and isn't really hitting up their target market, whether it's B2C for roofing leads or if it's B2B and I need, 25 more coaching clients like you would. I'm amazed it's still, they're not hitting a much larger audience with automated, customized outbound email. Those would be the two places I would invest if I was a, startup small entrepreneur. Easy, executable, doesn't need a ton of technical ability.
So let's quickly touch on data ecosystem and also business intelligence. How can harnessing data give companies a competitive advantage in business development? Because that's key.
Yeah, so a couple things. One is data ecosystems is a topic and an approach that's way beyond SMB. So if you're a solopreneur or 5 employees, you're going to have to borrow and get in somebody else's data ecosystem. You're not going to be able to deal with that. So like if it's 5x5 or you're dealing with a Zoom Info who has a pretty extensive data ecosystem, you pay to access theirs. You're not going to have your own. But if I was looking at it from a business development standpoint, the data ecosystems allow me to get access to millions of company records so that I can start figuring out who's in my target market. And that's the hardest thing is, hey, if Jay wants to go ahead and your company finds 25,000 potential candidate companies and executives to talk to, that's expensive to go buy. If you're buying it from Simplify or you're just buying the raw data from Zoom Info, that's a number. And then if you buy the wrong lists, they don't give you a freebie. They say, okay, you got to buy another list. So I would say when you tap into a data ecosystem, can you do the searches at scale to find your target audiences? That's where data ecosystems really help business development. It starts with that. Hey, who's in my totally addressable market? Then you look at, hey, who can I actually access? My serviceable addressable market, my SAM, right? Then there's my SOM, which is my serviceable obtainable market. So TAM is everybody. That's a target. The SAM is, hey, these are the ones that are the right size of my ideal customer profile. And then based on the dollars and the team I have, these are the ones that I can actually go after. So like for instance, if you and I were going to try to coach a Fortune 500 company, that's a whole different sales process. We probably don't have the people, the time, the credibility to get them. But boy, me and you go after a low middle market or SME or SMB, we have no problem. We have all of the tools, capabilities, and credibility. So I always try to explain to people it's access someone else's ecosystem to use it for biz dev for targeting. And then the other piece is making sure you're going after the right market with that data. Most people don't understand those TAM, SAM, and SOM. They don't even know what the hell the second two are. And that usually tells me they've never been around the block as an entrepreneur. Because everybody tells me, oh, the TAM's 10 billion. Yeah, I don't care. Like, who can you actually obtain the SOM? And oh, it's 500 million. Okay, that's a really small market actually. So anyways, that's the way we look at how to leverage data ecosystems for business development.
All right. That's valid point. We often hear the about automation in business processes. Even as a consultant, we often talk about automation. How do you see automation playing a role in improving business development efforts for entrepreneurs?
We've seen they had different terms, automation. So, you and I have run probably automated sequenced emails, right? So it's like, hey, we put a 5-step sequence email together. So Jay sends Jim the first email, I don't respond. Jay sends 3 days later another email that says, hey, I'd love to get together and see how we can help. Then you send another teaser email that says, hey, here's who we helped, little social proof. Then the fourth email I respond. That would be an automated sequence. Now we're getting to where there's Zapier, right? The Zaps. So Zapier takes those emails and then it updates HubSpot for us. And it says, hey, Jay sent 1 activity, 2 activity, 3, fourth one. Now it went in and it responded to a question Jim did, and that's going to update the record. It zapped it from the email system, which was separate than the CRM. That's another process automation. Now the game has changed dramatically with agentic flows. So that's a fancy way of saying smart agents or automation. Now what's happening is it says, hey, customize this message for Jay on the fly, scrape his LinkedIn bio, go and look at PR Newswire and say, hey, Jay just landed this big award and congratulate him on him. Nobody had to touch it. Now the personalization, the familiarity, like somebody did some thoughtful thinking. A smart agent changed it. So it went from basic sequencing, hard coded, to then it went to Zaps triggered on an event. Now it's a complete self-contained learning system. So that's what's changed on the automations, and agentic flows are driving that.
That's great. Thank you for the information. Everybody talks about AI. AI is the future. As a person of authority in that field, what role does artificial intelligence play in the future of business development? No, not for the big organization like the large corporation. So let's look at the small and medium enterprises.
Hey, winners, as we continue our journey together today, I want to share something truly special with you. Over the years, I've had the privilege of coaching countless business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, guiding them to achieve breakthrough results and unlocking their full potential. So I'm opening up just 4 slots for my monthly business coaching program. That's right, 4 slots. After being fully booked for the past 3 years, if you're ready to elevate your business with personalized guidance, proven strategy, and a supportive community, I'm here to help you navigate challenges, refine your vision, and achieve your goals. So if you're committed to taking your business to the next level, I want to hear from you. Reach out to me directly at jay@winnercirclewithj.com and discuss how we can work together to build the future your business deserves. So don't wait. This is your moment. Join Winner Circle and let's embark on this transformative journey towards success together. And now let's dive back into today's episode.
I don't want to overstep my expertise because I think anybody who tells you exactly how it's going to go is a fool. But here's what I can share is there's a lot of AI whitewashing going on. You know that term, like with sports washing with the Middle East, right? They spend a bunch of money around sports to make everybody think they're better countries, even though they're major human right violations, right? AI washing is kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, Jim and Jay have put a smart bot on their website, so they're AI enabled. Nah. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think right now we're in its infancy from a standpoint of efficacy. So there's almost $1 trillion has been spent in the last 3 years between data center upgrades, NVIDIA chips, and investment in over 20,000 AI companies, right, from venture. Think about that. I think it's over 700 billion in 24 months. It's a massive number. What that tells me is there's going to be a lot of dead companies at the end of this thing in 3 or 4 more years. But if you don't start now, you're not going to understand what the potential values are. So my suggestion is keep it small, test, learn, explore, test, learn, explore as an entrepreneur. Then what will happen is Jay will go, oh, you know what? I figured out I can write a proposal I can do some background research. I can do a base strategy plan all off of generative AI. I can do a little smart quoting agent. I don't have to have that. I can do 5 times as many quotes with the same assistant. I think AI is going to be the greatest improvement of productivity ever for an individual on a team. And I think the other side of that's going to be a little bit of stepping into the guesswork. Is I don't think you're going to need as many people at the bottom rung of the ladder, which is what Reid Hoffman from LinkedIn's been saying, is that white collar bottom rung is going to be harder and harder to grasp as an entry level position. So in the last year, I've seen AI make huge jumps. I think it's going to make even more. And I think in 36 months or less, we're not going to recognize these large language models and how good they are, or these agentic flows. Think about tipping the whole world over in 36 months. I think that has the potential to do it, but not in every field. Like, you're still going to need somebody to go out and move a hammer and build a house. You're going to, unless they 3D print them, which is coming. You're going to still need somebody to put blacktop out. Oops. Now you have these self-driving trucks. What if you have self-driving, machines that put down the blacktop? Robotics, and the field of vision and all that stuff is moving so quickly. We're in an arms race with China, obviously. So I think it's going to be the greatest entrepreneurial time ever. And back to your point of how does it tie to business development? The people that can understand who's in market, the end customers, the entrepreneurs for business development, are going to win, that know how to use it. So we have, and I'll share one way we do it. So all the technology we talk about on our site, there's one called IMA, and it's an acronym. We named all of our smart agents, people's names, and it stands for in-market audience. And what that means in your case is everybody that's on a website that's looking for business consulting, we can actually find them. IMA's pretty powerful. So how's it going to help business development? It tells me which people to email that are interested. That's pretty powerful. That's where it's going, just so you know. We're already there doing it today. It's just going to get crazier.
So is it that the IMER is going to review the prospect, or how does the...
Yeah, IMA. Yeah. So what IMA does is, good question. So what IMA does is it finds the websites where people that are, and I'll just stay with your company, excuse me, that are interested in coaching, right? And all it finds is a cookie. Well, with an identity graph, I can take that cookie and realize it's Jim Weldon. Well, if I know Jim Weldon and I have his email, then I can email Jim Weldon and say, hey, we'd love to chat with you about executive coaching or growth coaching. And now all of a sudden I didn't fill out a form. I didn't call you. I visited another website, but because I was on that website, I was able to figure out it's Jim Weldon. Now I can send an email, and it enriches it. It generates the custom email. It sends it out on your behalf. Jay never had to touch it. That's where it's going to revolutionize. We're already doing that today. That
Wow.
works and is at scale today.
Wow, that's big. This information is going to really help a lot of SMEs and even more businesses, especially the fact that they have like lesser staff and they have to worry about sending emails, cold emailing and all that. So that can actually just tell them the prospect and tell them this person is actually a great fit for what you're selling. I want you to take a look at it on behalf of the listeners who are mostly entrepreneurs and business owners. So I know you've worked with major tier one clients like Apple and Intel. What insights have you gained from these experiences that can be applied to smaller companies grow?
Good question. So a lot of those logos that are on my LinkedIn bio reference one particular company that we were a reseller for Jive Software, which was a community software. So we had unbelievable tier one brands: Bank of America Small Business Community, the Charles Schwab Community, the Apple Developer Network. We were the key guys behind building that for them. I learned a couple things. One is we were in over our head, number one, because those companies are unbelievably process driven and maniacal in their details. Number two is we had our professionalism across the board, how we communicated, the way we wrote responses to them, the briefs we provided, the technical diligence, the security protocols, a tremendous amount of overhead. So what I learned is when you're small, avoid big companies. They have lots of money, but boy, there's lots of time, overhead, and risk to losing those deals, because that's why big companies service them. They have the whole package. What I'd rather do is and focus on now is middle market. So I call that the $100, $200 million company at the low end of middle market to the maybe 500 million. down to 20 million. Those are where we really focus. And the lessons I learned there was don't be afraid to ask for money. Don't be afraid to quote value. Because the big guys, they don't blanket price if the value's right. They really don't. They'll pay for your expertise. What I found and we learned with the smaller ones is entrepreneurs are afraid to ask for their value. If you really know something and you're like, they can't afford it, they talk themselves out of it. I'm like, screw that. If you're helping them double their efficacy and growth or leadership effectiveness, what does that translate into sales? $500,000, $1 million, 2 million, right? And you charge them 15 grand, 10 grand a month. So that's what I think the lesson is um, if your value is real, companies will pay for it.
If your value is real, companies will pay for it. So another part I want to take a look at is for people, wants digital marketing agency and even marketing agencies. And now that we have, the advent of AI that can do almost every other thing, do you think AI is going to take out marketing agencies in your own view?
No. I think they're going to help them expand their services. So let's take, for instance, let's say you were very good at marketing strategy, and then you would partner with people that would do the tactical pieces, create the ad, place the media, build the attribution and dashboards for insights. That's 4 different companies you have to go bring together. I think what will happen is more of it will become centralized, and you'll see more of a consolidation of capabilities under one roof, like an Ogilvy does at the big level. They're a world-class digital marketing firm, and they don't have to go out and hire 10 companies to pull off a campaign for 4. They have it in-house. So I think what will happen with digital marketing is I think they'll extend their capabilities by leveraging AI, and it'll be really good. That's what we think.
Thank you so much. So, and also I've seen that you've been a member of prestigious entrepreneurial organization. How has networking influenced your perspectives on technology in business development?
First of all, when you join those, don't think of them as networking, think of them as knowledge transfer and kindred spirits. So if you think of it like, and I don't want to insult anybody who's an insurance salesman, but an insurance salesman walks in every room and starts telling you, I sell insurance. Hey, who's doing your coverage? They're annoying. You know those people, they can't help themselves. When you're in a room with other entrepreneurs, the worst thing to do is to go, hey, Jay, you're an entrepreneur, CEO, so am I. How can I do business with you? No. Instead, it's like, hey, Jay, what are some of the challenges you faced? Can you share some of your experience on how you did A, B, and C with team development and got everybody calmed down? You'd be like, yeah, glad to. So I'd say the peer-to-peer sharing was the number 1 benefit. Number 2, YEO and YPO have something called forums, which are the equivalent of a board of directors, your personal board of directors. I've been in the same forum group for 32 years. So these people have seen me grow up from a super young entrepreneur and experience to a older, hopefully wise board member investor. And I wouldn't be half of who I am as a business person unless they shared all of their learnings. So I would say use it more for experience, insights, knowledge than networking. If you want to network, go to the Chamber of Commerce. But even then, I think it's more powerful to do your networking on digital marketing with social channels for conversion than to go out and press palms and use those professional CEO organizations that way. I think that's the lowest brow, or I'll call it lowest brow use of that channel. And people can sniff that person who's in there trying to go, I'm gonna go work Jay for a deal. It's like they're like, don't talk to Jim. Jim's a knucklehead. But if I came to you and said, hey man, I'm super impressed with your podcast. I really like your point of view. Hey, do you mind spending 5 minutes and talking about this problem? You probably go, yeah, sure. That to me, lifetime experience, expertise, perspective, that's worth gold, more so than trying to get a deal out of you. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's been my perspective of 33 years in the organization.
Yeah, that's great. That's great perspective. It's the nail on the head. You don't have to try to sell every other time. Try as much as possible to build relationship. I think it's very important. If you look at the fact that businesses leverage on social networking and also digital platforms, how important is it for entrepreneurs to create a strong online presence? That's number 1. And what technology should they focus on to push their online presence?
I would say most entrepreneurs are not geared to take advantage of social channels from an organic standpoint. So you're obviously a content monster, right? You got your podcast, you got your channels, you promote, you're backlinking, dude, you're an exceptional to the rule. You're a different cat, right? You have a different way of thinking of how to leverage social platforms. Most people are not that person. What they should just go pay to run an ad on Facebook. If you're going after businesses, they should just get a small agency to help them with their top of the funnel and don't even pretend. But if I was going to focus on two things, one is I would focus on LinkedIn for B2B, period, full stop, become an expert. Guys from Master Inbox created a whole approach towards how do you turn your LinkedIn into a storefront. So instead of having like underneath your picture, I'm the CEO of Prospect Desk, just tell them what you do. It's just this the first headline they could read to understand, hey, this is what Jim does. Simple things. The second thing is I would look at social channels that convert for your end customers. So if I'm trying to find Fortune 500 companies, they're probably not going to be on TikTok, right? A consumer is. Maybe they'll be on Instagram because Instagram's becoming a great curation platform for lots of topics. So some buyers are there, but if you're over 40, you're on Facebook. So then the issue is that the right place to market? I'd say most people, it's a fool's errand. 95%, I'll just put a guess out there, should not be doing a content strategy on a social channel. Most of them are checkboxes and BS that people have just so they can say we're on, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. They have some junior person post some pictures of the company events, and that doesn't really get you anything. So I would say if you're going to do it, commit like you have. I mean, professional platform for your podcasting. You have professional editing. You do live streaming. You built a library of resources. That's no joke. That's an investment in it. And most people aren't prepared to do that. So I would say if you're not prepared to do what Jay's done, don't do it. It's a waste of time. I don't know what your
So
opinion is, but that's mine.
yeah, that's actually a beautiful opinion. That means you don't have to be in the trend. You can actually build your platform out of social network and be on ground, which is a great thing. But if you have the means to push it online, you can also push it. You never can tell people can see you from other countries, and probably they can reach out to you if that's needed. But I think you already hit the nail on the head, so everything looks good. So now I see that you have a lot of community involvement, and it's quite important to you. If you look at your roles on various boards, so how does giving back to community tie back into your business development philosophy?
There's not a direct correlation. My giving back is more from helping entrepreneurs understand how to extract value from their companies. And said another way is I'm amazed how many people tell me how much money they raise or what their shares are worth, but they're not rich. Like, who cares? Like, how do you get cash value out of the most illiquid asset there is, which is shares in a private company? So my give back on a lot of the stuff we do is we help educate entrepreneurs that, hey, there's a way to get cash out of your company. Sell a piece to a company that needs your technology, sell an asset from your company that somebody else needs. Because 9 out of 10 companies will never raise institutional money, entrepreneurs that will never be venture backed. So if you have a lot of different levers you can pull to create your wealth, and in my experience, you take away the person's house, the next biggest asset they have that's illiquid and underutilized to drive their wealth is their business. And they have no clue. So that's the what first and most important way we give back is share our perspective of how we did it. The second way is participating in the lives of my fellow entrepreneurs' kids. So, connecting them with my son, being a mentor for them, spend a lot of time talking to them about their ideas, always encouraging them, do not quit your day job until your night job, your entrepreneurial venture exceeds that income. I'm amazed that it's like, I got 3 months of living expenses and credit cards. Yeah, that's stupid. Don't do that. So that's another way I give back. The other boards I used to be on, the Getty and all those, they were more for ego at first. And they didn't really do anything except just reconfirm. People waste a lot of time on boards. There was no, like arts and education was kind of cool with the Getty when it first came out in the 90s, late 90s. But it didn't wind up the way we wanted. We were trying to share entrepreneurism in inner city schools through the SNAP lunch program and the company called SNAP. It didn't materialize the way we wanted, but the Edison Foundation was interesting working with them. What I learned there was they're as political as anybody else, and Edison probably would have killed himself if he saw how ineffective they were. But it drove me an entire different path. So I would say go into things that interest you. Helping entrepreneurs is mine. That's why I'm on your podcast, because if I can help one entrepreneur goes, then you and I have done our job. We're not trying to, you can only change one person at a time or inspire one person at a time. That's why I do this. Period. Full stop. This is not it started out as a, hey, let's get on podcasts and see what we can develop. Yeah, I don't have a goal of I got to get 5 leads from Jay's podcast. We don't do that. And people say I'm foolish for that, but you give 2-3 hours a week to these things. You don't know. Is Jake 6 months from now, you can come back and go, hey Jim, one of my fraternity or college friends or family friends, I think you should talk with them. You could change my life with one introduction. That's the way I look at it. So that's how I use these things. It's one introduction can change your life. I think that's a more rational approach and way to look at it, and more mature.
All right. Thank you for your service. What you're doing is great, especially the fact that you're on the show speaking to now, it's not just one person right now. You're speaking to thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people listening to the show. We're going to even listen to the podcast in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because it's going to be on the internet for forever, at least till maybe, I don't know if the internet ever collapses. So if on the archives is lost, but so far it's going to be online. Somebody's going to listen to it and they'll be able to grasp your, the information that you are actually giving out, which is going to be like a philosophy, is going to be in philosophy books. And looking at this fact here, you said something that you told your son that, if you want to do business, make sure the business is clear enough before you quit your job. I quite agree with that because a lot of people really don't understand how this works. Sometimes people just they just think about entrepreneur idea and they just quit their job and say, I'm no longer working. I want to just start a business. Sometimes business doesn't go the way you think it will go, and you don't want to be in a lot of debt. So it's very, very important to make sure you are clear enough before you quit that your day job. As much as we promote entrepreneurship, we still try as much as possible. You need to do it the right way. Just like, you said already, make sure you are clear enough before you take that bold step, very important. So now looking ahead, what emerging technologies or trends should entrepreneurs be paying attention to in the next few years?
I think there's a couple of trends. One is, how do you use your digital smart agents to augment your org chart? So one of the things we've done, and we shared it online with our company, is here are the real people. So it's whether it's Vinny as an SDR or Izzy, here are the SDR agents and how they fit into our org chart and take on discrete roles. So I think one trend is start thinking about smart agents instead of technology as core digital teammates on your org chart, and I think it will integrate them faster into the process flow. So that's one trend, I think, and it humanizes the flow too, instead of it being some ethereal, technology in the cloud. It's like, oh no, it's IMA does this thing, and IMA is key for us for our top of funnel for business development is one idea. The second trend is data ecosystems. Right now, we all pay, and most of the market pays retail to access them. So anybody who's tried to run Facebook ads and get them to convert knows they're at the whim and the capriciousness of Facebook changing the algorithm, or whether it's Google changing the algorithm. LinkedIn, my gosh, they become draconian on how you can go and access data and lock people out. So I would say data is the great equalizer. The problem is it's becoming more centralized and monopolized by fewer companies. That's why our sister company 5x5 was to allow the 8,500 ad tech and martech platforms an independent place to go to tap into our ecosystem. And our ecosystem is completely transparent. It doesn't charge by the drink like you do with the other ones. So I would say an ecosystem mentality and understanding it's important. And I'd say the last trend is, man, you better learn. I mean, Warren Buffett said it. It's the learning it's compounding information and insights. So you don't get dumber every day by reading more. You get smarter and more insights. I'm amazed at how little time people spend to learn. Oh, I read a book this month. Really? How about I read five? How about I'm in the middle of six different white papers right now from leading institutions and universities. How about there's probably half a dozen top tier blogs I listen to. I just listened to the Benioff interview from Salesforce, the founder, talking about his clients may deploy 1 billion smart agents in the next 3 years. Holy crap. We think it's going there, but if Benioff thinks it's going there, hey, that's another a marker. So I would say the big thing is you need to accelerate your learning cycles. If you're not intentionally trying to get more exposed to this stuff, you're going to get left at the curb.
So look at this way. There are a lot of entrepreneurs right now who feel a little bit overwhelmed by rapid pace of technology change, technological change. If you look at it, few months ago, we don't even have like AI video. It wasn't that powerful compared to what we have right now. Like AI can actually
Correct.
do my video right now, and it's me, but it's not me, and it's gonna talk properly, not like
These
kind of
these
After
deep
Effect
fakes are
kind of way.
getting incredible. Yeah, they're
Yes,
incredible.
very incredible. So now it becomes very hard for a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses to stay afloat, because when they just get a new system and they're happy, oh, this is the next big thing. All of a sudden, few weeks after, another 2.0 or 4.0 comes out, and what they have is obsolete. So, what advice would you give them to stay on top of advancements that's relevant for their businesses?
Understand how they apply. I mean, it's one of the things. I think the shiny object syndrome is real. I think trying the fear of missing out is real. I think the, hey, should we keep up and implement the latest of this is real. So that gets back to understanding your business. So if you and I are partners and we're trying to fill the funnel, what's the one or two things we're sure that we need to make the funnel work? Not, hey, here's another cool tool, right? You can spend an hour or two. Think about what Google did for 15 years. Every Friday, people could work on whatever passion project they had. That's changed now. But you could take 20% of your week and just explore and expand how you thought of things. I think of an entrepreneur tied that into 2 hours a week. Friday afternoon when it's not busy, no one's calling you, you're not driving around in traffic, and you just sat and explored. That's the time to contain all of your craziness and create a little journal, whether it's on a Word doc or Google Doc or Google Sheet. Then you can chase shiny objects. But from a practical standpoint, Jay and Jim are running a business. Let's take one or two tools, and the only time we go change, and I have a running list with our team of about 400 technologies that we curated for ourselves. We don't share that because we have notes, insights, sequencing, testing. That's our knowledge base of, hey, this is the way we're looking at where the market's going. Then every month we refresh it and have a conversation about it. So I would say be really clear about where it can help you. Don't get overwhelmed. Just set time aside to go after it.
Well, it's very important to set time up. So, for our listeners or somebody on this show right now trying to want to connect with you or learn more about your work, what's the best way for them to do so?
Two ways. One is if you just want to, and I appreciate that, by the way, just can go to our website, www.prospectdesk.ai. They can see what we do, and who we service, or they can send an email at jim@prospectdesk.ai. And I still look at my own emails. I probably should have a bot screen them and see if they're a fit, but I can't help myself. I still answer all my own emails twice a day. I do 30 minutes in the morning and I'll do 30, 40 minutes at night. And I try to stay off of it the rest of the day. So those are the two best ways.
All right. That's great. Thank you so much. So lastly, what's the final piece of wisdom you would give to entrepreneurs striving for success in the landscape of business development and even entrepreneurship?
It's the same one I've been given for over 20 years, which is path to cash. What I'm real amazed with is people talk about product to market fit, their capital raises. If you don't have a cash machine, a way to generate money, your business cannot stay alive. And it just blows my mind. And you and I have heard this many times. Hey, what's your unit economics? Like, do I have the time to go get this deal, to close it, collect it, service it? What's my cost with it? I'm blown away by how many people don't know their unit economics and don't really have a clear path to cash. I would say that's the single most important thing we deal with. Now, it changes when you're venture backed, right? Because you're afforded all kinds of mistakes and burn and all that. But for entrepreneurs, the what I would call the middle of the fairway entrepreneurs, be very clear on how you generate cash. Without cash, you can't survive very long.
Cash, you can't survive very long. It's a point for today that people need to, take note of. Of
They
course,
forget.
you know. Yeah, so last but not the least, in as much as I wanted that to be the last word, I know you spoke about reading many books. Like, what can you suggest 10 books that you think every entrepreneur should have read? 10.
It changes for me, but I'll give you a couple that I'm in the middle of right now. One of them is called Scary Smart. I'm not good at remembering authors, pretty insightful. And the other one is Agentic Artificial Intelligence. Dr. Davenport, I happen to know him. He's one of the 7 authors. If somebody really wants a dense book, it's 500 pages. It does a fantastic job talking through why it's important, how it's impacting industries, how do you test it and put it to work and implement it. Consider the business models, the operational models. The book's fantastic, but it's dense. It's not a quick read. And those are the 2 ones right now I'm in the middle of.
All right,
I'm
that's
a
great.
I'm a
Thank you.
nonfiction guy, so I read tons of business books.
That's great. That's great. I'm sure our listeners are gonna go check out the books, to get more insight and more knowledge. And they will also reach out to you for more information or more knowledge. And, Jim is gonna help you with information that you need. He's a great person. Yeah. He's helping the entrepreneurship world and also the entrepreneurial community with wisdom and knowledge. He has over 30 years of experience in this field. So thank you so much for sharing this incredible insight today. And we really appreciate everybody at Winner Circle say thank you so much. And for the listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to the Winner Circle podcast and sharing it with other entrepreneurs who could benefit from James' wisdom today. And also, I want you to remember embracing technology and adapting to change are essential skills for success in today's business environment. So I want you to join us next time for more stories and strategies from leaders who are making a difference in the industry. Until then, keep striving for excellence in your pursuit. And I want to say thank you for being part of the Winner Circle. And thank you again, Jim, for coming. All
Jay,
right,
really
guys.
appreciate
Have
it,
a
man.
nice day
I
again.
enjoyed it.
All right.
You
All right.
too.
Welcome. Yeah. Bye.
Hello, listeners. I want to take a quick moment to share an incredible opportunity for anyone looking to take their businesses to the next level. So, if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed by the challenges of running a business, most businesses need help right now to navigate out of all this mess, all this hula baloo. So, I'm going to recommend you to check out Point of View Consulting. They are based in New York City and they specialize in offering expert guidance tailored specifically to your needs. One of the things I like about them is their team. They have a lot of team members and they're dedicated to helping businesses of all sizes, whether you're small, whether you're medium, whether you're large. They will help you identify your strengths and weakness. They will also develop effective strategies. For my listeners, or for the listeners of the Winner Circle podcast, you can get 30% off your first consultation by using the code Winner Circle Podcast when you sign up. So whether you're a startup or you're an established company, Point of View Consulting, they offer personalized services that can help you align your objective with practical solutions. So if you're ready to unlock your business potential, you need to visit www.pointofviewconsultingimc.com and use the code Winner Circle Podcast for your special discount. So don't miss out on this chance to work with the industry expert who can provide the support you need to strive. So I'm just going to say it again. Go to www.pointofviewconsultingimc.com. When you get there, use the code Winner Circle Podcast. When you contact them, tell them Jay from Winner Circle Podcast sent you, and use the code Winner Circle Podcast for 30% off your first consultation. So take this step towards a success today. All right, see you next time.